It's nice to see all of your faces. All right, so today, as many of you know, Karen Shoshana, she's a member and author of her new book, Hormonious, is going to be talking to us about achieving hormone harmony. So she'll present and we'll ask you to mute if you have background noise and do some questions and answers in the end. And that's it. So welcome, Karen.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if this works. You guys tell me. Can you see my screen?
We can. Yeah.
Okay, so
yes.
Okay, so let's see if I can. Okay, so this is screen number 1. This is a big topic, hormone harmony. There's hundreds of hormones, and I have less than an hour to share some of like the most important ones, I would say, and give you some tips. So these are extracted from my book, Hormonious. I launched it in November, and I'll speak more about that later. But let's get started. Okay, let's just all take one deep breath in. Hold it and let it out slowly. Let's do that one more time. One deep breath in. Intersection hotline. Oh my God, they're at the hospital. Hold it and let it out slowly. Okay, that's just for everyone to be present. Okay, this is my itinerary. And if you could please just mute your phones and screens, I would appreciate it, because this is being recorded for people who can't be present right now. Thank you so much.
And Joanne, you can mute as well.
Okay, who am I? So this is what we're going to go through. Who am I? What is functional medicine? How to address chronic issues? Be a detective. Then I'm going to get into a few of the hormones and the digestive system, which is critical to the entire topic of health. The topics and the corresponding hormones are stress, sleep, and weight. Hormone harmony is just going to be my way of giving you an outline of how to approach health. And then I'm going to share my favorite products. Okay, so let's get started. Who am I? This is me taken, this photo was taken a few years ago. So I learned recently that I'm a multi-hyphenate. I was always concerned that I didn't have one direction because I have so many passions. I am a non-practicing attorney. I am a health consultant and an FDN practitioner. What that means is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. It's a mouthful. And basically what that means is that I use diagnostics to help people heal back to health. And diagnostics just means lab testing. I'm an author. I wrote the book Hormonious, which you'll learn about later if you haven't already. And I'm in the process of becoming a realtor for the state of Michigan because I love Michigan. We have a home out there, and that's my next step. I'm a mom to 3 boys, including twins, which is a whole book unto itself. And then I'm just sharing a few things that I love, like my dog, travel, pickleball I got into in a big way. I miss live music so much. I'm very passionate about healing the environment, and I love supporting others through their wellness journey. So if anybody ever has questions and they just don't know where to turn, please come to me and I will help point you in the right direction. Okay, so what is functional medicine? Functional medicine is not woo-woo medicine. It begins with conventional medicine. Plus, I add the plus because it goes deeper. It seeks to find the root cause of a chronic health issue through deep investigation and supplemental functional testing. So it does consider health history, and that includes even going back to while your mom was pregnant with you to her health history. So in my case, I am a child of Holocaust survivors, and knowing that fact for me was helpful in figuring out my own health and learning about how the experience of my parents trickled down into my own life. They also consider lifestyle, food, and other inputs as critical factors. So they also consider the organs as an integrated whole. So as an example, they don't just look at the heart. It's not just going to a cardiologist who's going to know all the answers to your questions. They look at all the organs together, how the systems function together, and how they impact one another. The patient is an equal partner in the health journey. So as much as we want and have always held our doctors up on a pedestal above us, functional medicine is being honest and authentic. They don't have all the answers, and they really do need you to participate in the health journey and to take responsibility. It feels like so much easier if somebody could always just tell us what to do, but the truth is, if you really want to gain optimal health, you have to be an equal partner. Okay, this is continued. So I like to distinguish between integrative medicine, because that's also a popular and well-known platform for medicine. So integrative medicine is an example. They utilize therapeutic modalities such as acupuncture, massage, lifestyle considerations, all kinds of different external supports. Functional medicine does that, plus they go deeper. They will do functional testing, and they also will look at pre-disease states. So if you look at, for example, issues that people may have with the liver, conventional medicine only considers you to have an issue with your liver if it's in a disease state. So functional medicine considers the whole ocean of the possibility of looking at yourself when you're well, and then also considering outside of that realm. So let's look at vitamin D as an example. When you get your vitamin D tested, the range in functional medicine is going to be narrower. So like the functional medicine optimal range, and this changes over time, but approximately it's 40 to 70. 50 to 70, something like that. So if you go to a conventional medicine doctor, they're going to say, oh, you're at 30, you should take a little more vitamin D. So a functional medicine doctor is going to look at your range of vitamin D and see if you're outside of it, and not only say, yes, you need more vitamin D, but why are you low on vitamin D? And start examining all other factors. So this to me is really really important, and I think what distinguishes functional medicine from these other platforms. Okay, next. So to me, functional medicine is common sense medicine. If you want to learn more, please visit ifm.org. That's the Institute for Functional Medicine, and where I got a lot of my information and knowledge and training. Okay, so when you're talking about your health, it's important to get to the root cause. And in order to do that, you need to be a detective and ask yourself questions. And this is part of the process of being a partner in your health journey. Okay, so here are some questions to begin with. And there's so many more. Again, I could not include everything in this talk today, but I tried to weed out when some of the most important things. So when did I start feeling badly? This is sort of important. And the flip to that is, when was the last time I felt good? So when you start thinking about when was the last time I felt good, what did that look like? What were you doing? How were you living? You know, that to me, I think is like, I should have put that number one, but since most people come to health and they have an issue, then you also want to ask the question, when did you start feeling badly? And pin it to a date. So also, when did you start or stop doing, what did you start doing or stop doing differently at that time? Or what was the intervening factor? For some people, COVID was a huge intervening factor. Life was good. before COVID for them. But everything flipped on its head, and a lot of people didn't really know how to deal with that. So then you want to start examining the internal factors. So going into your health history, exploring the foods that you're eating, the medicines. So for example, if you've had many antibiotics, as I did, my dad was a physician, so he was throwing antibiotics at me all the time, which I ended up paying for later. Also, you want to check out illnesses, consider illnesses that you've had over the years. If you've had multiple, any disease states, then you also want to consider external factors, work, relationships, other stressors like COVID, for example, structural or physical, like if you were in a car accident and your body is misaligned. So those are things that you sort of have to deal with. And then your environment. Is there mold in your home? Are there cleaning supplies or beauty products that you are sensitive to and not even realizing that it's impacting you? So this is a process, and untangling this information is half of it, and then the other half is implementing the solution, and both take time. Okay, so the key to all health is the smooth operation of your digestive system. So this image is like the lining of your intestines, and those little fingers like the grass, that's literally like an image of the lining of your intestines, and above it is the cells like what you would be eating that would penetrate going through into your bloodstream. And then the things that don't pass through, what will be excreted out. So problems sometimes occur when somebody will have a leaky gut, and that there's a way for harsh elements to pass through the intestines into your bloodstream, and that's when problems start to occur. But I'm not going to go into leaky gut because that's not why we're here, but I just want to mention that. Okay, let's talk about hormones and your digestive system. So things that you may not realize is how hormones play a role in everything that you do. These are just things to keep in the back of your mind, that every bite affects your hormones. There's a chemical reaction happening. Hormones control your digestive system, and your digestive system produces hormones. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. Hormones are responsible for informing your cravings and appetite. And hormones in our food add to the mix. So for example, toxins and chemicals that mimic the hormones in our body can produce a cascade of dysregulation. So you may be eating the best food, but if your system is not digesting or absorbing properly, then you're missing out. Okay, let's start with stress. So the corresponding hormone of stress is cortisol. And this is a really big topic. There's other hormones that are in the process of cortisol, but and we want cortisol. It's hugely important. We don't want to have a life without cortisol. The problem is when there's too much of it. So cortisol is produced in the adrenal glands, and it's a steroid hormone. Basically, this is what gives your body its inertia to wake up and move. It begins increasing while you're sleeping near morning. It slowly ascends around noon and then descends. And then it's lowest at night, 3 to 4 hours after the onset of sleep. So the challenge with cortisol is when there is too much activated. So here I use an example of when you have a near accident and catch yourself. That's cortisol or adrenaline. So the problem today is that we have so many stressors, but our body doesn't shut the cortisol off. And so that's when things become a problem, is when your body thinks that it's always in a near accident. And so it's always producing cortisol. And then it starts working against itself. So in general, cortisol is a natural anti-inflammatory and painkiller. And like I said, it's a great hormone. We want it, we just don't want it in excessive amounts. So cortisol also aids in metabolic processes like regulating blood sugar, as well as the metabolism of fat, protein, and carbs. Too much cortisol slows digestion. So when your brain is thinking don't crash, digestion becomes irrelevant. Another common example that's used when talking about cortisol is the bear. When you're like suddenly faced with a bear and you're in fight or flight, so your body is not thinking about digestion, it's thinking about saving itself. Okay, so what do we want to do when there's an abundance or excess of stress? We have control over this. And it just takes putting it into practice. So here are a few tactics. So we want to reduce the cortisol spigot. The first thing that I always recommend is meditation and breathing. And that's when how I started this talk, was taking a deep breath in. For anybody who is in a tense moment, will always be my number one recommendation, which is take a deep breath and always return to the breath, to this moment. That's huge. That's even when you're waking up in the middle of the night. And I have an amazing breathing technique called 4-7-8 that I refer to in my book, but again, there isn't time to get to everything. Regarding what else you can do to reduce cortisol, move your body. And this goes for weight challenges too. This just goes for life. If you're not moving your body, you're missing out. So today, especially with us all locked in at home, there are so many options to use apps to stretch, to exercise. I recently discovered this site called PlyoJam, and that's a dancing. You can register and start dancing in front of a TV. And how amazing is that? Another way to reduce cortisol is to get your mind onto something else. So you want to look for things that are appealing to you or that pique your interest. And when you do this, you find your flow, you get creative, and you move your brain to another topic instead of the issues that are so present. And your brain needs a break from the stressors. And so that's why it's important to make sure you take time to do these things that you enjoy. Think solution versus problem. I believe that this is such an important concept. A lot of us are so focused on the problem, we're not thinking about solution. And once you start thinking about solutions and you realize the control that you have, I think the more at ease you can become, because we can only do what we can do, and taking control of what we can is finding the solution, whatever that may be. Okay, mealtime. So like I mentioned before, your digestion shuts down when you are in chronic stress. It doesn't do its job. And so food may sit there. So people who are rushing to eat, I urge you not to. I urge you to slow down and chew your food and think about where the food came from, and really take your time to enjoy it, enjoy the process, and try to remove stress from when you're eating. Write it out. This is a big one. I just believe so much in writing out your whatever, your feelings, your emotions. If for anybody who wants it, I have a wonderful PDF by a woman who wrote the book, The Artist's Way, and I always share that with clients. It is a great way to kind of clear your mind, and also not just clear it, but also start to articulate what are the issues that are most important to you. Supplements can be very helpful. I would encourage you to explore CBD or ashwagandha. These are both great supportive possibilities for anybody who is excessively stressed. Get support, either friends or professional. I have learned about an online therapy site called Talkspace. So I think this is as important as writing it out, but anybody who has talked to a friend feels better, way better, after they've just vented a little bit. And then the problem they thought was a problem isn't even a problem anymore. Okay, sleep. The corresponding hormone is melatonin, and melatonin opposes cortisol, excuse me. And so what does that mean it opposes? It means you can't have high levels of melatonin, which help you go to sleep, and high levels of cortisol. If there's too much cortisol, you can't go to sleep. And you need melatonin to go to sleep. So melatonin is the sleep hormone, and the majority of which is produced in the gut. So this becomes important when we talk about the healing and the health of our gut. Melatonin is light sensitive. So the more light, the less melatonin is challenged to be secreted. And we need melatonin. So whereas cortisol is highest in the morning and reduces in the afternoon, melatonin begins increasing to get their body ready for sleep in the early evening. So if cortisol is ramped up at night, melatonin secretion is depressed, and that makes sleep challenging. So how do you increase melatonin? First of all, you have to practice sleep hygiene. You have to get into a routine. So some people like using blue blocking glasses in the evening. This reduces the glare of screens, and that will help promote the secretion of melatonin. I highly encourage, if possible, to remove your TV from your bedroom. If that's not possible, remove your cell phone. And if you can't remove your cell phone, at least turn it to airplane mode, so that you don't have to deal with any of the waves that are emitting from it. Another supporting supplement to consider is magnesium. So I use Calm at night. And important, I don't even know if this is on the back of the bottle, I just don't remember this, but it's really important with this supplement that you mix it with hot water. That's how it is activated into magnesium citrate, which is what you want your body to take, and what will get your body in the mood for sleep. You want to make your bedroom a sanctuary of cozy and warmth. That is also anything that you can do to make going to bed inviting. You want to do that. Read if it's not too upsetting. Write it out. So that goes back to stress. Implement the stress reduction tips, and reduce caffeine intake. If you're sensitive to caffeine, I would say don't drink it after the morning. Like, try to reduce by half as your day goes. Weight challenges. There are so many hormones that correspond to weight. And I absolutely cannot get into all of them, but a few of them here: thyroid, insulin, estrogen, testosterone, leptin, growth hormone, and many, many, many more. I am only going to be talking about
Your mom is?
one of them.
What'd she die from? Do they know?
Kim Buckley. Thanks. Sorry. Okay, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin tells your brain that it's full and to curb appetite. So that's really important. This is a hormone that we want to make sure is engaged and operating. If your leptin is not working, that means you're experiencing leptin resistance. That means that you're going to continue eating. So there are things that actually can induce leptin resistance. Fructose is one of those things. Sugar is one of those things. Leptin is made by fat, also known as adipose tissue, and it's secreted into the circulatory system. So the hormone ghrelin is the opposing hormone, and that promotes fat storage. When you don't get enough sleep, ghrelin increases, and that's why I wanted to mention ghrelin. So sleep is hugely important. Sleep is also when human growth hormone is produced. That's another huge important hormone for weight challenges. So how do we increase leptin? We eat a protein breakfast. This can increase metabolism by 30%. Reduce the number of carbs you eat. So don't exclude. I'm just saying reduce them. Eat slowly, chew well, and stop when you're 80% full. You want to eat 3 meals a day. You want to limit your snacks because those can lead to leptin resistance. If you're eating snacks during the day, you just want to start becoming aware of it and start examining what you're eating and why the meals aren't satisfying enough. And you definitely want to reduce your sugar intake. Another way to increase leptin is you want to avoid eating after dinner when possible. So leptin is highest in the evening and sets the pattern for nighttime hormonal regulation and influencing the release of melatonin, thyroid hormone, growth hormone, sex hormones, as well as the immune system for proper sleep. So this is a huge one. If you can avoid eating after dinner, you're going to increase leptin. These higher levels of leptin allow for fat burning during the evening hours where no food is consumed. And if you are compelled to eat after dinner, try to go for a protein which will support melatonin production and sleep, like a slice of turkey. So food is medicine. If your cells are getting what they need, you are in a good place. But when the nutrients are absent, a breakdown happens. Okay, hormone harmony. So this is sort of my framework for everything you really need for your hormones to be in balance and to achieve a place of feeling good. And you know, this all cannot happen in a day. This is something that happens over weeks and months. But a lot of the hormones that I am discussing today are ones that are really important and ones that you can take control of. So reducing stress. You really need to face this. For anybody who has chronic stress, it's going to bite you in the ass if you don't. So you want to explore and you want to examine and sift through the issues that are causing your stress, whatever they are, and get support where you need it. Rest, sleep is essential. You need 7 to 8 hours. I know all of you know this. But like I said before, and like I've said earlier, so many hormones are happening when you don't even realize they're happening. So things like not eating after dinner gets leptin to work, which then also promotes sleep. Exercise, move your body, walk, dance, find an app and build muscle. It's not just enough to do cardio, especially as women, we're aging. You can invest in small weights and, you know, again, everybody's spending a lot of time at home. We don't know when we're going to be back in our places where we go to work out. And it's a worthwhile investment and doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Okay, let's talk about eating. So what does it mean to eat relatively clean? I realize that it's expensive and it's not possible to eat everything organic, and nor do I eat everything organic. But I aim for organic when it's possible, and I strive to eat more of those healthy things that my body's gonna feel good when I do so. So that leads me into what should I be feeling after I eat a meal. So these 3 points are really important. So every time you have a meal, you should have a sense of satiety, feeling satisfied. You should have good, solid energy, and you should have a sense of well-being. So if you're not experiencing these 3 things, you really have to start to analyze, assess what are the components of your meal. So here, when I say when you hit these three elements, you're optimizing your cell's ability to burn fuel for energy. And this is the optimal metabolic effect. This is what we want. This is all about what metabolism is utilizing our cell's energy. Each meal should contain fat, fiber, and protein. So for anybody who's seen me or heard me before, the fiber part is the carb part. So potatoes are a carb, but they don't contain the kind of fiber that we need to move the food through our system and toxins out of our body. So, and the way to balance these macros, you sort of have to figure out what works best for you. If you start doing a little bit of search online, I learned that for me, my protein intake should be approximately 60 grams a day. So for each meal, I broke that down to about 20 grams of protein per meal. So that's what I aim for. More or less, it's not ever perfect, but that's what I aim for. And then I will add fat or fiber accordingly to make sure that I'm getting a good ratio. Toxin exposure. The amount of toxins that we are exposed to are just incomprehensible. I am sharing this CNN report that I came across recently about baby foods containing heavy metal toxins, and it includes green companies. So it's really something that our system in this country, we just there's just so much happening, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, but that's why I do this. I want to educate so that the more that you know, the more that you're aware, you can start exploring, examining your foods, looking at the ingredients, looking where the foods came from. So, when I talk about organic when possible, you're eating what the animal eats. If you're eating conventional meat, you're eating meat that has hormones, that's been eating non-genetically modified corn. And so that means that's coming into your body. So those are more toxins that your body has to contend with. Supplement. I believe in supplements. I believe that what your body doesn't provide or is falling short of, and what you're not getting from foods, supplements can help. And I believe that there are excellent supplements out there and can make a difference in how you're feeling and what you're getting through into your body. So stretch in a positive direction. This was inspired. I read this morning an article about a designer who talked about, she's now 75 years old, and about how important it is to think positively. And, it's when you look at that glass of water, what do you see? You want to stretch in a positive direction. So this is meant to inspire you to move your body and think positively. Okay, so here are some of my favorite products. And at the end, I'm going to share my email so that if you want, I can send you links to these things. But all of these items I have personally used and are predominantly clean and just feel good and are a great addition. For me, I don't eat a ton of vegetables. I just don't. I eat salads every day, but I don't believe that I'm getting enough. And that's why I love these Get Your Greens. But apple cider vinegar, I love these Goli apple cider vinegar gummies. Chalk Zero is actually sugar-free chocolate. I have this a piece at least once a day with a little bit of almond butter after my dinner meal, and it satisfies. And I'm not going back in the kitchen because it hits the sweet spot. Fiber. I imagine a lot of people who are not going to the bathroom at least once a day definitely want to make sure they're adding fiber to their daily routine. And these are two awesome products. I mentioned Get Your Greens. There's also 8 Greens gummies. Hair color, my hair print. I have not found a hair color product that is completely toxin free. My hair print, which is it's quite a production, I'm not going to lie, to use it. I would definitely watch the videos before you would invest in it. I believe it only works on dark hair and not blonde hair. I'm not sure about red. But don't purchase before you learn how to use it, because it is a mess and it is a commitment, but there's no toxins in it. And I love that. Healthy fats. So Primal Kitchen is a great brand that I love, and they make mayonnaise with avocado oil. Then there's also Chosen Foods avocado oil that I cook with. It has a high burn point, which is a great way to, when you're frying something or want to cook with something, avocado is a great option compared to, for example, olive oil, which does not have a high burn point and means that you are experiencing toxins. Metabolism boost. So Sakara, I tried this metabolism super powder. I decided in January to experiment with it, and I have had a good experience with it. It was great in curbing my appetite, increasing my energy, and I added it to my coffee along my decaf. By the way, I don't drink coffee, I drink decaf. I mixed it in with a scoop of protein powder, and that was how I start my morning. The next thing that I also love to do is this Birch Benders I make waffles with my little mini waffle maker, and I add into that also a scoop of protein powder, flax powder. There's so many things that you can add that make these once, your basic pancake mix that would just put you to sleep. Now you can have an energizing pancake that fills you up and makes you feel good. So I love that. These 2 protein powders are excellent. They're both derived from animals. So if you need a vegan option, just let me know and I will find a good vegan option for you. I don't use those. So these are the ones that I use. Probiotics, if you need a probiotic, these are all excellent companies. And supplement companies, I didn't want to give specific specific supplements, meaning the only specific one that I give really is the Calm, for when you're going to sleep. I also like this Elysium long-term brain health. If you look at the contents of it, it's everything you want. And I've been using this. This is the only one that I will recommend at this moment. But these other supplement companies are all excellent and highly recommended, not only by me, but among the medical professionals I follow and believe in. So toxins are a huge topic. They affect our hormones, and they're in so many things that we use in our home, on our body. And the person that I look to get my information is Laura Adler. If you're on Instagram, you can find her at Environmental Toxins Nerd. She really is. She's a huge researcher ad nauseum, and has so much information if you want to delve deeper into products. So this is the cover of my book, Hormonious. I'm really proud of this feat. It took me a while to get it out, but I wrote it for several reasons. I wanted to put out a book that introduces the concept of functional medicine. I believe deeply in this common sense platform, and I wish that more of our doctors subscribe to it and would explore looking deeper into it. I also wrote it because I want to help people who are suffering from chronic conditions with practical, accessible solutions that they can have at their fingertips. So like I said, in functional medicine, the doctor is expecting you to be a partner. And in my book, that's what I help you be, an educated partner. And then I also wanted to expand the conversation from just talking as women about sex hormones to the multitude of hormones running through our body and that impact so much of our health, and that we have control over, that there's so much that we can do to feel better and to be healthy. So I wanted to propose an offer. If you haven't purchased my book, I have copies. And if you purchase from me today, I am going to donate 20% of the proceeds to the Women's Club of Well Met. And of course, if you're interested, just contact me. That's my email, getwell@wellnessgirl.net. Okay, I can open it up to questions if you have any questions and you don't want to ask me now. Again, there's my email. I think what I'm going to do with this slideshow is turn it into a PDF. So I can either share it directly or we'll talk to Melinda and Joanne and see with them if there's another way to get it out. So please let me know if anybody has any questions.
That was a lot of wonderful information, and I can say that I, for one, will be purchasing your book from you. And I seem to remember you said you would also autograph.
Yes,
copies
of
you
course.
sell.
And of course, anybody who wants, I will autograph a book for sure.
Okay, well, I am looking forward to reading much more, and I would definitely like a copy of the PDF presentation today.
Okay.
Wonderful.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And if does anybody have a question? No?
Yeah.
A question. Oh,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Joyce, go ahead.
yeah. First of all, I have your book already. Okay. And I really enjoyed your presentation. It was very informative. And I'm kind of a person who doesn't go to doctors. I'm a self-healer, but I would consider going to a functional medical doctor. Are there any in this area?
That's tricky, and I can explore that with you.
Okay.
I can explore that with you. The person that I see is not a functional medicine doctor. She's actually more integrative,
Okay.
but she's open to what I bring. And
It's understanding, and I think if she's relating to you, she could relate to me.
correct. And I think you'll like her, so I'll share her information with you.
Okay. Thank you.
If you're interested, I do see one who I would highly, highly, highly recommend. She works out of Evanston.
Okay.
She actually has a couple different places, but I found her through, I've done some work with the Cornerstone Health in Evanston.
Okay.
It's a holistic health center that helps people rehabilitate physically. And they brought her in, and she's wonderful. Her name's, now don't laugh at the name, but her name is Dr. Barbie. I love it, Dr. B. I'm going to butcher her last name. I could maybe send it to Melinda, or I could send it, Joyce, to you directly if you just want it as a reference, if you want to check her out.
I want to check her out too. So how do you know how to spell her last
fabulous.
name?
I'd have to look it up, honestly, because I always just call her Dr. Barbie. I was a Barbie girl. I loved Barbie. So I love that her name is Barbie. So I will have to look it up for you. Can I give it to you, Melinda? Or I don't know what the best way.
You can, why don't you give it to me and I'll give it to Karen? So I'll have it and Karen will have it. And I think
I
that's
probably have an
And
email
then I
from her.
can get it from Karen.
right.
Okay.
I think that will cover everybody here, right?
I have her. Okay. I do have her last name.
Oh,
It's Allegretti, Alleggretti. but I can get you her email. I would give her a little heads up too, that I shared her name. I'm sure she'd be happy about it. She's wonderful though. She's really
Okay.
great. She does all that. She can do all the tests.
Oh, nice.
Blood. She can do blood, stool,
Oh,
everything.
I love that. I love
and
that.
so
That's
it's
great.
nice that it is local.
There's also a great mobile phlebotomist around here too. So a lot of times with functional medicine testing, blood work is really part of it. So given COVID and given what's happening in our world, there's a great mobile phlebotomist. I will send the information to Melinda so she can make that available. I've been into this stuff for, gosh, like 20 years. So I know I like it when I don't have to leave my house right now. And I've had them come at least probably 3 times in the last 6 months. So it's really accessible. And you can even find a practitioner online. You don't even have to see them face to face. COVID has been a beautiful gift in some ways because it's allowed people like us to get outside of our conventional medicine box and embrace functional care in a much easier way. We don't have to actually go and seek them face to face. So that's one of the gifts I think that we all should appreciate is we can do a lot of this just like we're doing it right now.
True. Thank you so much for sharing that. Jeannie, did you have a question?
I have a question when.
Oh, who?
I just have a question that's come up. Do you have an opinion on air fryers? I know that might be out of like left field, but do you have an opinion on them?
It's so funny that you're asking. I haven't purchased one, but in general, I love the idea because it's air. You're not adding anything to it. So I actually think it's like an amazing device. I just haven't purchased one yet. I
just wonder if it takes out the nutrients. Like
it doesn't. Actually, most of the studies show that it doesn't. What to keep in mind is the oils that you use in it, because they often are the problem. So those are the things like she was talking about, the oils that you use. Let's say I'll put a chicken breast in or whatever it might be, or even what you spray it with so that it doesn't stick. Those things are really important. So knowing when to introduce an oil that's for low heat or an oil that's for higher heat is really important in an air fryer.
Okay.
Other than that, it's very much like baking. So it's very much like baking something in the oven.
I felt like it was very much like slow roasting, quite frankly. And I felt like
like it's
better.
You can put something in there at like 450 and it cooks very quickly, a lot like conventional baking might. So, but I found the oil is really important in there because things stick. And I choose not to cook in tinfoil and things like that because of the toxicity in the foil. So oils have become a game that I've had to learn to play and really teach my husband about because he's the one that uses it. He thinks it's like his best friend. I think if my house caught on fire, he would take it with him out the front door.
Funny. That's very funny.
Yeah.
I'll have to. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions?
I have a
Were there any
question,
questions? No?
Karen.
Yes.
It's Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi. I think my worst problem is that at night I have to have something before I go to sleep. And as I'm walking to the kitchen, I say, don't do it, don't do it. As I'm opening up the refrigerator, don't eat it, don't eat it, don't do it. So I just wondered, is like cottage cheese okay at night? Dairy, I don't know.
You know what? I'm not, dairy, I'm not a huge proponent of dairy. Like if you're going to do it, certainly make it organic. That's number one.
Yeah.
But I would, actually, so what have you been eating at night when you do that?
Well, I do have the cottage cheese or chocolate or I don't know, the noodles. I don't know, something like comfort food. Having a piece of turkey does not, that's not, I wouldn't go in the refrigerator and go, oh, a piece of turkey, that'll do it. No. So I was just wondering what else I can try to have, because there is no way my thought process will stop me from eating at night. It just won't. I've tried.
So another idea is, it sounds like part of your routine is going into the kitchen. Would
It
you
kind of
ever?
is, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any possible way to like start changing up your routine a little bit, and not for the purpose necessarily, I have to avoid the kitchen, but just to change up the routine to see if that makes a change in whether you need to go to the kitchen. You know what I mean? So the idea being, and I don't know how you spend your evenings exactly. I'm happy to talk to you about this deeper, but outside of this,
Uh-huh.
but an idea is certainly to start like changing up your routine. I think what happens with us is we get so used to things and how we do it. And when we get stuck, there's no opportunity for us to not only expand our brain cells, but like maybe create new pathways of thinking. And this may be an opportunity for you to do that. So I would love to like have a conversation with you, and we can go deeper into that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Share a product for her that has helped me tremendously if in between changing up your process. So are you guys familiar with Walsh's Natural Health in Evanston?
Yes.
Anybody in Evanston person? Okay. It's like, I love the place. It's one of my
It's
favorite
great.
places. So I've done some work with them, and I did a detox recently with Lynn. Lynn Bender is the owner. She's fabulous. And actually she does testing as well. Now that I think about it, she does all the blood work. Anyway, she turned me on to this. It is, it's really yummy. So if you just need like a little boost of something at night, that's sweet, and you're usually, having chocolate or whatever. This is actually, and I was low on I needed some more omega-3s. I eat more vegan, plant-based. This is plant-based, and it's just a tablespoon. It really satisfies you. Like, you don't feel like you need to eat more. Then you're getting in.
Can you read what that
Is
is?
it reading backwards? It's called Barlean's Omega-3. It is from flax oil. It is berry. So it's mixed with natural flavor. You taste the fruit, not the flax. Viga omega-3s. And like I said, it's all natural and it's fruit flavored. So it's just, I'm not trying to like sell anything, but I was in your boat. I always wanted like a little nighttime sweet chocolate, nuts, something.
Right.
And since her turning me on to this, it's been like a really good solution.
Oh, great.
That's
Thank
a great
you.
product. I've heard really good things about that product. Really
Yeah.
good things about it. Yeah.
It's
you put
yummy
it up-
too.
Could you
surprisingly.
put it up to the screen again? I'm just going to take a picture.
Yeah, I'm sorry if it's back. Is it backwards?
No.
No.
It's just. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. I always forget. It shows backwards to me.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Great.
couldn't
Thank
see
you.
it. Do you have it, Jackie?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
Jackie, do you drink tea?
No, I drink hot water and lemon.
For me, the getting out of the kitchen thing didn't work. I totally agree, trying whatever we can.
Uh-huh.
But so now when I go in the kitchen, I try to just make tea, or even sometimes I just have hot water, or a product like she was mentioning, like Calm, is enough that I'm in the kitchen, I'm putting something in my mouth,
Right.
and then I'm going away. Or sometimes I just go to bed early, because usually when I'm tired is when I'm hungry. So I think, well, maybe I should just go to bed instead of going to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Jackie,
definitely.
when you finish eating, do you eat dessert?
No.
Well, did you hear me mention that Chalk Zero?
Yeah.
If you
It's
have,
unavailable. You can't order it right now. They back ordered it. It even says temporarily unavailable, because I looked it up.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
on the website.
Lucky for Jackie, she knows me, and I have.
You have a stash.
And I'm a sharing person. So anybody who wants, I'm happy to share. Maybe I'm the reason that they are back ordered. But you have some of that with a little bit of almond butter. There's some of your protein, and that might do the trick. And so you're satisfying a sweet. The idea though is to not have it too late,
Right.
because we want to get that leptin going.
So you're saying to eat it right after dinner.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be immediate, but
Well,
you know,
I mean, not 4 hours later.
correct. And that may satisfy that need that you have for later,
Uh-huh.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I have tried, even in my brain, really, literally, I go, don't do it. Don't go in there. Go to sleep. And my body goes right to the refrigerator or the cupboard.
We're gonna work on creating new pathways.
Okay.
I'm with you, sister.
Yeah.
Karen,
Yes.
Julie Burns raised her hand, so
Oh,
maybe she has a question.
Julie.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to unmute. I have one suggestion, which is frozen grapes are really satisfying. They're super sweet and they contain melatonin.
Oh,
Frozen. Okay.
And they taste like candy when they're frozen. If you can just close your eyes and imagine they're not grapes.
So the sugar in that is okay to eat at night?
Well, I would say not to have many, but you know, if you have a few, I have found that to be pretty satisfying. There's a little fiber in it, so they
Uh-huh.
feel a little bit filling.
Uh-huh.
When they're
Okay.
frozen, they do have a kind of sweetness, more of a kind of sweetness that you might be looking for.
Uh-huh.
So instead of going to, you know, chocolate or something, it might be satisfying enough to have a few of those. And then you have a little bit of the melatonin.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks.
Sure.
I have a question.
Okay.
I hope I didn't jump anybody. I wanted to ask you about collagen supplements. I have read so much about the different kinds, and if I understand correctly, are there 3 types of collagen, or
There's
like
more types.
okay, because you always see like types 1 and whatever, and can you explain that a little bit to me, or
Hold on a second.
okay. And I put it in my coffee in the morning. I don't know if it's doing anything fantastic. But I do know, and I've heard this before, Karen, maybe you know,
Yeah.
when I put a scoop in my coffee, it really takes, not that I get jittery, but it just takes the edge off of that cup of coffee. And that's really what I've noticed and what I like.
What brand do you use? Vital Proteins?
My husband orders it. Hold on.
I've been taking Vital Proteins for 3 years, and my hair and nails and skin are real good. I use the
Good.
bovine though, not the
Yep.
fish. Now they do a fish one.
We have collagen peptides.
Oh, that's a different brand. Than
Yeah.
I use.
I've tried Vital Proteins. For some reason, my husband chose this one after all of his research.
Okay.
And since it's here, this is what I've been taking.
It probably
Where do
takes
you-
the jitters off because it's putting in some protein with your coffee. So you're balancing out what you're putting in.
Okay.
Yeah, that whole fat, fiber, protein idea. And also, and not to take away from Julie's grapes idea, I love that. But part of the reason I also like the chocolate idea is chocolate does contain magnesium, which is helpful for sleep. And then you have the fat and the protein in the almond butter. So there's, there's when you start balancing what you're eating, you start to notice a difference in how you're feeling. And that's why I talk a lot about how each meal you should be having a sense of satiety and well-being and feeling good. That's when you start to realize, like when you look at the food on your plate, what it's comprised of and how you feel afterwards. Listen, we're all educated people. We know what we're eating. So this is the protein that I use.
I've read about that one.
Ancient Nutrition.
Yep.
So it has types 1, 2, 3, 5, and 10. If for you to ask me what each type does, I'm not going to be able to answer that right now. I would have to look into it and get back to you.
And I know I read about all of these, but I can't remember either.
So he writes here, clinically studied source of types 5 and 10 collagen to improve crow's feet after 4 weeks.
And
And to reduce joint discomfort in 7 days.
Can you put it in your
Um,
coffee?
Mhm.
I put a scoop in my coffee. I also put a scoop in my pancake mix.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna show that to you too.
So Karen, you believe it's beneficial and to stick with it?
I think it's a great source of protein.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that
I-
collagen protein doesn't have all of the amino acids, so it's not a complete amino acid profile unless it's got other
True.
things added in it. And the Dr. Axe product is phenomenal. The one that Karen is talking about, it's fantastic stuff.
The one that
But
she just
if
showed?
you're having that as just, and sometimes it doesn't matter if you're having all the amino acids in one meal, right? As long as you're getting them all later in the day in another meal. So sometimes people replace their meal with a collagen supplement, and it's a lovely thing as long as they're getting their amino acids later in the day too, a complete amino acid profile.
Elaine, thank you so much. It sounds like you have some knowledge too. What do you do?
Well, right now I just do this.
What does
So,
that mean? You just come to,
I'm just at home right now, lucky to be here in e-learning with my kids. My
okay.
next iteration in my life is coming up soon. So
Okay.
but I have been doing and into all of this. I'm going to get my certification for functional medicine coaching from the Institute of Functional Medicine. So like I dove into this stuff long before anybody. I was that fringy weird person 20 years ago doing it. So now it's just fun.
Very
So.
nice. Well, glad to have you on board and welcome your opinion. So this is the product that I use to make my waffles with. So this is keto, but there's also like a paleo version. And I add
Closer to
flax.
the closer push.
And kids will even eat those. Trust me, they're that good. We use the paleo ones, but the
I use
kids
the
will even eat
paleo
them.
ones. They were out of paleo, so I
They're
bought
so good.
keto. So good, really good.
But I don't know if your boys are like mine. If I try to make them too healthy, they'll like, oh, it's terrible. You know. So those birch benders are fabulous.
Yeah, birch benders are fabulous. Oh, these are the gummies I was talking about. The apple cider vinegar gummies. And then for people who need more greens, I really like this. Okay, were there any more questions? Because we're after the 1 o'clock hour, so I don't want to keep people, but are there any?
I just had a quick one about the gummies. What does the apple cider vinegar, does that help with digestion?
It does.
Okay.
So apple cider vinegar is like huge help. It's great for not just like your digestive tract, but also for your stomach and helping with acid, promoting stomach acid. A lot of people these days take antacids. They're probably making their problems worse. Like they don't have enough acid because we need a vibrant acidic stomach to break down our proteins. So this for me is huge because I cannot tolerate taking the spoonful of apple cider vinegar. It just makes me gag. And this is like easy to eat and fun and tasty. And it combined, like you just really need 2 of them. And that's like taking a spoonful of apple cider vinegar.
Does that take the place of digestive enzymes?
No, that's a separate supplement. And
They would be additional to the acid would just be additional to that.
Correct.
And fine, yeah.
Karen,
Yes.
sorry, I had to step away for a second. I missed apple cider vinegar gummies.
Did you get that?
I saw that. I think I've tried something like that before. But the apple cider vinegar, what are the benefits? I mean, I used to drink it, just like swallow it down. And
basically everything that we're doing for apple cider is to promote vibrant stomach acidic environment.
Okay.
It's also going to help with digestion. So help with all the foods going through the digestive tract. There's so many like things that it does that I'm going to have to get you a list of it.
Okay. No, I've been considering taking those as well, but you know, you see so many different ads for so many different things, but the whole apple cider vinegar idea has
You
been
know,
around for a long time.
before you go like investing in a lot of things, it's really, you really want to like examine what's missing from your situation. What are you lacking? What are you feeling? You know, a lot, when I wrote my book, I was really, my target market was for the person who has chronic issues. They cannot sleep at night. They are anxious and stressed, like, you know, so for like looking at the sea of faces in front of me right now, you're not really quite the target market. So some of these things might be excessive. You know, you may not need apple cider vinegar. So that's like why you would work with a health coach to kind of assess. And it sounds like, wait, I have to get this out of my way. Elaine, like, you know, it sounds like when she finishes her certificate, she might be a good person for you to reach out to and work with.
For sure. I know where to find her.
Elaine, you're on mute.
Sorry,
I'm a
my
host
son
too.
popped in. I love chatting about this stuff, Karen. Thank you for this. So
Oh, my pleasure.
I
do
want to
too.
mention too, thank you. I went to IIN as well. I'm a health coach and I have a business as well. So yeah, I have your book.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
speaking of your book, does your book get into menopause hormones at all?
Good question.
A little bit, but that's not my main thrust at all. It's not about, I'm not necessarily.
You know, not that I'm there yet. I'm just asking for
I
a
wish
friend.
it wasn't my main thrust either, but it is.
I'm asking
Yeah.
for a friend.
I get it.
Are you asking for me?
No, but I do believe that like being on top of all these other hormones is going to make going into, you know, that stage in life, it's going to make it much more palatable.
I don't know if I'd use the word palatable, but at least you don't want to run people over with the grocery cart at the store.
There you go. There you
I
go.
thought you were going to say your car.
Oh no, I was thinking that too, one or
Thank
the
you,
other.
Christine.
And Karen's totally right. If all of this stuff is more balanced, the better, you know, this whole transition goes.
Okay.
Go
Thank
50.
you so much, Karen. This was really amazing and enlightening because there are so many other people that are kind of getting more educated about this approach to
Yeah.
health, and it's good to hear because we are all capable of taking advantage of our body's ability to heal itself. So I think this is a good approach. So, and thank you for your offer to support the Women's Club. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate all the volunteering you do for us, and we wish you great success.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Karen.
It was my pleasure. Anytime. Thank you for everybody who joined. And if you have any more
Thank you.
questions, just reach out to me.
I will.
Thank
I would like
I will.
your book. Thank you so much, Karen. This was wonderful. And everyone else for your input and comments. It was great.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you,
very much,
Karen.
everybody.
Yeah.
Happy
you.
Wednesday.
All right.
Happy hump day.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye.
Okay, all right. And we'll let you know, Karen, as soon as we can about how to access the video of this.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Karen, that was fabulous.
very good, Karen.
Oh,
Very
good.
good. Yeah.
That
I'm
was
glad you liked
fabulous.
it. I'm glad you liked it. Good.
Yeah. We could have all talked for hours, I think.
Good response. It looked like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many different topics. It's endless.
Oh my God. Apple cider vinegar. Like, it's like, it's so funny because I was like, there's just so much information.
Yeah.
And I mean, even like what I talked about, I really had to hold myself back because there's just too much.
Next
There's
time, just take us to your pantry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very limited. It's very, very limited what I eat.
Well,
In any event, thank you, ladies. And
All right. Thank you, Karen.
you're welcome. I see there's like people that were in the chat, but I didn't really look at that.